Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to Easy English Class. I'm Marco, and with me today is Erika. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Marco. Thanks for asking. I'm really excited about today's topic because it's something that makes English sound so natural and fluent.
Before we dive in, if you're new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're here to make English learning easy and fun for everyone.
And if you find this lesson helpful, give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are studying English. Every like and share helps us create more content for learners like you.
So, Erika, today we're talking about phrasal verbs. I'll be honest. When I first heard the term phrasal verb, I thought it sounded really complicated and technical. Was it difficult for you when you started learning them?
You know what? I felt the same way. The name sounds intimidating, but the reality is much simpler. Phrasal verbs are just combinations of everyday verbs with small words like up, out, in, on. And together, they create new meanings. We use them all the time without even noticing.
That's reassuring. So, could you give us a simple definition? What exactly makes something a phrasal verb?
Sure, a phrasal verb is a verb plus a particle, usually a preposition or adverb. When they combine, they often create a completely different meaning from the original verb. For instance, turn means to rotate, but turn off means to stop a device from operating. Two simple words, one new meaning.
Oh, that's actually pretty straightforward. So, the verb and particle work as a team to express something specific. Can we start with some really common examples that everyone uses daily?
Absolutely. Let's imagine it's getting dark in your room. What would you do? You'd reach for the light switch and turn on the lights, right? Turn on means to activate or start a device. Lights, TV, computer, anything electronic.
Turn on is so natural. I use it constantly. And I'm guessing the opposite would be turn off? Like when I'm leaving a room, I turn off the lights to save electricity?
Exactly. Turn off means to deactivate or stop a device. Before bed, you turn off your phone. When you're done watching Netflix, you turn off the TV. It's one of those phrasal verb pairs that work perfectly together. Do you always remember to turn off appliances before leaving home?
I try to, though sometimes I forget and have to rush back. Now, what about when we're talking about loud sounds? Like if music is too quiet and you want it louder?
Great question. You would turn up the volume, which means to increase the sound level or intensity. If your neighbor is playing music too loudly at night, you might ask them to turn down the volume, which means to decrease it.
So turn up and turn down are another opposite pair. That's helpful for remembering them. I notice we're using turn a lot with different particles. Does the particle completely change the meaning?
Yes, exactly. The particle is crucial. Turn on, turn off, turn up, turn down. Same verb, different meanings created by the particle. That's what makes phrasal verbs so expressive and useful in English.
Fascinating. Let's move to a different verb now. What about when you're searching for something you lost? Like when I can't find my keys in the morning.
Perfect situation. When you search for something, you look for it. So you'd say, I'm looking for my keys. Has anyone seen them? It simply means to search or seek something or someone. When you're job hunting, you're looking for work.
Look for. That's super common. And what about when you discover information? Like when I need to find out what time a store closes.
You could say, I need to look up the store hours. Look up means to search for information, usually in a book, dictionary, or online. You look up words you don't know, or you look up someone's phone number in your contacts. Have you ever looked up a word while reading in English?
All the time, especially when reading news articles. So, look for is physically searching for objects or people, while look up is searching for information. What if I'm waiting expectantly for something exciting?
Then you're looking forward to it. This means you're excited and anticipating something positive. For example, I'm looking forward to the weekend, or we're looking forward to seeing you at the party. It expresses positive anticipation.
I love that one. I'm looking forward to our next vacation has such a positive feeling. Now let's talk about relationships. What phrasal verb describes when a romantic relationship ends?
When a couple ends their relationship, they break up. So you might hear someone say, Sarah and Tom broke up last month, or they decided to break up after 5 years together. It means to end a romantic partnership.
That's a sad one, but definitely important to know. What about the opposite? When people start a romantic relationship?
Interestingly, we don't really have a common phrasal verb for starting a relationship, but we do say people get together when they become a couple. Or they might go out with each other, which means to date. Are Mike and Lisa going out? Means are they dating?
So, go out can mean to leave your house, but also to date someone? That's one of those phrasal verbs with multiple meanings, right?
Exactly. Context is key. Let's go out tonight could mean let's leave the house to do something fun. But are they going out? In a conversation about two people usually means are they dating? English speakers understand from context. What do you like to do when you go out with friends?
Great question. I usually meet up with friends at a cafe or restaurant. Oh, meet up. Is that a phrasal verb too?
Yes. Meet up means to gather or come together with someone at a specific place. It's more casual than just meet. You might text a friend, want to meet up for coffee this weekend? It implies making plans to see each other.
These are all so practical. Let's talk about daily routines. What phrasal verb do we use when we rise from bed in the morning?
When your alarm rings and you leave your bed, you get up. It means to rise from bed or from a sitting or lying position. I get up at 6 every morning, or what time did you get up today? It's slightly different from wake up, which just means to stop sleeping.
Oh, interesting distinction. So I might wake up at 6 but stay in bed until 6:30 when I actually get up. What about getting ready for something important?
You get ready or get dressed. Get ready means to prepare yourself for an activity. I need to get ready for work includes showering, dressing, eating breakfast. Get dressed specifically means to put on your clothes. How long does it usually take you to get ready in the morning?
About 30 minutes if I'm rushing. Now, what about when we wear something to test if it fits, like at a clothing store?
You try on clothes. Try on means to put on clothing temporarily to check the size and appearance. Can I try on these jeans? Or, she tried on 5 dresses before choosing one. Smart shoppers always try on items before buying.
Absolutely. I learned that lesson after ordering shoes online that didn't fit. What about when we test something new, like a new restaurant or hobby?
You try out something. Try out means to test or experiment with something new. Let's try out that new Italian restaurant. Or, I want to try out yoga classes. It's about exploring and experiencing something for the first time. What's something new you'd like to try out?
I've been wanting to try out rock climbing. Now, let's talk about problems. What do we say when an issue appears or arises?
When a problem appears, it comes up. This means something happens or appears, often unexpectedly. Sorry I can't make dinner. Something came up at work means an unexpected issue arose, or in meetings, topics or questions come up for discussion.
So it's often used for unexpected situations. What about when we need to handle or manage a difficult situation?
You deal with it. Deal with means to handle, manage, or take action regarding something. I need to deal with these emails. Or, how do you deal with stress? It's about addressing and managing situations or problems.
That's really useful. What phrasal verb means to continue despite difficulties? Like when studying gets hard but you keep going?
That's keep on or carry on. Both mean to continue doing something despite challenges. Keep on practicing your English, or even when it's difficult, carry on trying. They encourage persistence. When learning English feels challenging, do you keep on studying or do you take a break?
I try to keep on going, but sometimes breaks help too. What about when we postpone something to a later time?
You put off something. Put off means to delay or postpone. I keep putting off my dentist appointment, or don't put off studying until the last minute. It often implies procrastination. We all put off unpleasant tasks sometimes.
I'm definitely guilty of putting off household chores. Now, what do we say when we create or invent something, like a story or excuse?
You make up something. Make up has several meanings, but one is to invent or fabricate. He made up an excuse for being late, or she loves making up stories for her children. It can mean to create fiction or lies depending on context.
Interesting. Does make up have other meanings too?
Yes. Make up can also mean to reconcile after an argument. They had a fight but made up the next day. And it can mean to apply cosmetics. She's making up her face means applying makeup. Same phrasal verb, different meanings.
English really loves giving words multiple meanings. What about when we discover something by chance?
You come across it. Come across means to find or encounter something unexpectedly. I came across an old photo album while cleaning. Or, did you come across any good restaurants during your trip? It implies accidental discovery. Have you ever come across something surprising while organizing your room?
Yes, I came across my old school notebooks last month. Such memories. What about when we understand or realize something clearly?
You figure out something. Figure out means to understand or solve something through thinking. I finally figured out how to use this app. Or, can you figure out this math problem? It's about reaching understanding or finding a solution.
These are all so practical for everyday English. Let's talk about one more important area: work and business. What does it mean when someone loses their job?
When someone loses their job, they might be laid off or let go. Laid off usually means losing your job due to company downsizing or economic reasons, not personal performance. The company laid off 50 employees last month. It's different from being fired for poor performance.
That's an important distinction. What about when you submit something official, like a form or application?
You fill out or fill in a form. Both mean to complete a document by writing information. Please fill out this application form, or fill in your name and address here. Americans tend to say fill out, while British English often uses fill in.
Good to know both versions. What about when you organize or arrange something, like an event or meeting?
You set up something. Set up means to organize, arrange, or establish. Let's set up a meeting for next week, or they set up a new company last year. It's about creating or arranging things systematically.
Wow, we've covered so many phrasal verbs today. I'm actually surprised at how many I already use naturally without thinking about the grammar behind them.
That's exactly the point. Native speakers use dozens of phrasal verbs daily without analyzing them. They're just natural parts of English. The key is learning them through context and usage, not by memorizing lists.
So true. And I notice many of them come in logical pairs: turn on slash turn off, turn up slash turn down, get up slash sit down. Learning them in pairs makes them easier to remember.
Absolutely. And many phrasal verbs are very visual and intuitive. Look up suggests searching upward through information. Break up suggests something breaking apart. The particles often give clues to meaning.
That's really helpful advice. This lesson has made phrasal verbs feel much less intimidating. They're just tools for expressing ourselves more naturally in English.
Exactly. And the more English you read, hear, and speak, the more these phrasal verbs will become automatic. Your brain will start using them without conscious effort.
Before we finish, let's give our viewers a fun challenge to practice what they've learned today.
Perfect. Here's your challenge, everyone. In the comments below, write a short story or describe your day using at least 3 phrasal verbs we learned today. It could be about waking up, going out with friends, or anything from your daily life.
And bonus points if you use phrasal verbs in opposite pairs, like I turned on my computer in the morning and turned it off before bed. Don't worry about making mistakes. We're all learning together.
We read every comment and love seeing you practice. You could write about looking for something, meeting up with friends, trying on clothes, or dealing with problems. Get creative and have fun.
This has been such an informative lesson, Erika. Thank you for making phrasal verbs so accessible and easy to understand. I think everyone watching will feel much more confident using them now.
Thank you, Marco. And thank you to all our amazing viewers for joining us today. Your dedication to improving your English is truly inspiring.
Before we say goodbye, remember to subscribe to Easy English Class if you haven't already, and click that notification bell so you never miss our weekly lessons.
Please share this video with anyone who's learning English. Together, we can help more people communicate confidently in English.
We'll see you in our next lesson. Until then, keep using those phrasal verbs in your daily conversations. You're doing great.
Take care, everyone, and happy learning. Don't forget to complete the challenge in the comments. We can't wait to read your sentences.
Goodbye.